Hi everyone, it's Fatu with Good to Know. And before I start, I'm going to go all YouTube on you and tell you to rate and subscribe because it really helps me out. And if you're on Spotify, make sure you follow, and just everybody on all platforms, make sure you're downloading and listening. But anyway, thank you for tuning in today, and let's get down to the content. So, I'm just going to start this with a hot take. I think mission trips, 90%, I would say a good 90% of mission trips are useless, and they're modern day colonialism. Boom. Mic drop. I went there. And today I'm really going to be going there and going in on mission trips because I just really don't like them at all. And as a little background, not only am I Black, if you couldn't tell by the last Black History episode, I'm African. Both of my parents are from Gambia, born there, raised there, moved here later in their lives, but my family's Gambian. My whole family on both sides is from Gambia and Senegal, and that is a set I rep, okay? And so I'm aware of what goes down with these mission trips, because I think the last time I went there was 2011, and I went there and I was having my fun or whatever, and I saw, people all wearing matching shirts. They were definitely white. I couldn't tell if they were European or American, but they had Bibles, they were building something, and you can just tell those people from a mile away because just everything about them, you can just tell it's that I'm helping you, I'm better than you, and you should really take my help because I'm American or I'm European, and listen to me, I'm so great. And what a lot of people are missing is the understanding of why Africa is so poor. And before I start that, I just want to let you know that Africa is not a country. I'm speaking of this as a continent, as it is. There are 54 different countries in Africa, and they're all completely different and autonomous. That's not what I'm getting into today. The reason why the majority of Africa is poor is because decades of being exploited and being beaten into submission by European colonial powers. If you've never heard of the Scramble for Africa, the Scramble of Africa was done from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. And it's literally when a bunch of European countries like Belgium, France, England, Portugal, Spain, they all went to the continent of Africa and basically drew these borders and drew these lines, and they pretty much robbed these countries naked of their resources and told them, you guys are savages and barbarians, and we're going to teach you how to be proper and be what we are, so you guys can be better off. But obviously that didn't work. And also, along with that, it's because, I'm not going to lie, a lot of African leaders are highly corrupt, and they get all this money and all this funding, and it's not being used to help the people of the general public. And that's a fact. I'm not going to deny that either. But colonialism is the main reason why Africa is in the place it is today. And that's just a fact. And so to understand that, you have to understand how complex poverty is. Poverty is about so much more than the lack of material goods. It's not just not having water, not having phones, not having internet. It's so much more than that. It's about a lack of choice and not being empowered to live up to your potential. Poverty is caused and perpetuated by a whole complex system of factors, including political corruption, unfair international trade laws, environmental degradation, illiteracy, and obviously the list goes on. So to understand that, and anybody who understands that knows that going to Africa for 2 weeks is not going to alleviate an entire system of poverty that goes on. And that's just the truth. And so when I see people going on these mission trips, I just shake my head because what could you possibly be doing in 2 weeks? A lot of it is just unskilled workers, mostly teenagers or young adults, going and building churches or building orphanages. I don't even know what they're building, but you have no experience doing this, and you think whatever you're building is just amazing because you're coming from America or whatever country you're coming from, and you're on a mission to help people. And that just bothers me, because you're just making it seem like these people are poor and helpless and they should just take what they get because they don't have anything anyway. And it's a horrible way to think. And if you think like that, please save your time, save your energy, and save your money, and stay at home, because you are not helping anybody. You're not even helping yourself, because you don't learn anything when you do things like that. And this all just kind of ties into, well, honestly, the white savior complex, like all that stuff. It's all pretty much, they're all fruit in the same smoothie I'm talking about here, okay? And I don't even know what to say, because it's just ridiculous. Like, we've all seen that Instagram post. It's of a girl. She's most likely going to be white, upper class. It's a selfie of her and 5 other African kids smiling in the background. And the caption goes something like, "Oh my gosh, coming back from this amazing mission trip, words can't describe the kind of things I saw. These people helped me more than I helped them, and I'm never going to forget them. This trip will go down in the books. I love it. So glad to be here. Thank you so much." And then they just post that picture and a bunch of other similar pictures and just feel good for the rest of the year that they helped out these poor African or Asian or Central American children. And I think a really big issue about this is just not understanding what people need. There are a lot of people in African countries that do need help, so much help, but it's not the kind of help you think they need. They need to be taught trades, they need to be taught vocations and skills that are actually useful, like skills you need in America, like learning how to type, learning how to use Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint, and learning how to save money. And even those things, like, people just don't have the knowledge to actually teach those things. They just go and teach what they think people need to know, or build what they think they need, and not actually ask them, what do you really need? How can we actually help you? And a lot of this is going to be a long-lasting relationship. And there is no long-lasting relationship when you go on a 2-week or 10-day trip. That does nothing. And it's just so superficial to me, because what are you actually doing at all? And I take issue with companies like Tom's, where it's, oh, if you buy a pair of shoes, a kid in some underdeveloped country is going to get a pair of shoes. My issue with that is, what happens to the guy in that community that's making shoes himself, and he's making shoes, trying to make a living, trying to make money, and Tom's comes in and dumps an entire dump truck load of shoes, and everybody has a bunch of free shoes. Now, how's this guy going to feed his family and feed himself and have a business if he just all these free shoes are here? And like, going to countries and building things, why don't you help the laborers in that country that are construction workers? Why don't you give them the money, give them the tools, and give them the opportunity to build things, instead of you, an unskilled worker, coming here and trying to build something that you have no idea what you're doing? And that's just the whole topic of paternalism, because just throwing money at people is not going to help the root of the problem. And that's what people aren't getting. So before you take your checkbook out, or even, oh my God, before you even make a GoFundMe, which, please, if you have to make a GoFundMe to pay to go on a trip to some country to help people, you don't need to be going there at all. You need to take that money from the GoFundMe and give it to a legitimate organization like Doctors Without Borders that's actually going to help people who know what they're doing. Help those people. And so I just caution anybody to just make sure you're doing your research. Why are you there? What are you going to be doing? And are the things you're doing actually going to help people in the long run? Or is it just going to help them for a day or a week? Are the things you're doing sustaining? because there's always that same narrative of people that do these kinds of mission trips. They come back and they declare how bad things were for the people in that country. Like, oh my gosh, they were so poor. Their clothes were tattered. They didn't have any shoes. They played soccer with some twigs and a ball of dirt. And they're surprised about how friendly and happy the people were there despite what they went through, and how Jesus instructs us to be a good neighbor and a good Samaritan. How about this? Here's my challenge. If you want to be a good neighbor and a good Samaritan, instead of paying thousands of dollars to go to some African country where you're going to be staying in great accommodations, why don't you go to an impoverished area of your community? Because no matter where you live, there is a city or an area in your city that is struggling with people that really need help. Why don't you go there to like a homeless shelter or to a boys and girls club and help the people there? Because then it can be a long-lasting relationship because they're just down the street and you can constantly help them and do that. But oh wait, I think it's not as cute to go to the hood and take pictures there than it is to go to Malaysia or go to South Africa or go to Nicaragua and take pictures with those kids. It's better to do that instead, apparently. And I was on Twitter earlier this week and I saw a picture. I can't even tell where it's from. Like, I don't know if this is like some kind of parody or something, but it was like a picture of a white woman, and she was wearing what looked like a wedding dress. So I'm not sure if she was modeling wedding dresses, but she was wearing a wedding dress, and she was surrounded by like at least 20 African kids, not even sure what country it was, and it looked so bad. And if this is not a parody, which I hope it is, if it's not, I just want people to think, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm sorry, I don't like to swear on this podcast, but what are you doing? This is not right. You're infringing upon people's cultures and you're exploiting them. You are literally exploiting these people even more than they've already been exploited. Please stop. So that's all I have to say today. Honestly, really, that's it. The gist of it all is mission trips kind of suck, and if you really want to help people in your community. Help people that you know, and help people that you can go and see them from time to time and see how they're doing and genuinely help them out. Buy them books, buy them clothes, teach them vacations, take them to the library or something. Genuinely help people, because by going to these countries, you're just trying to be a hero. You're trying to be a hero. You're trying to go on Instagram or go on Facebook, wherever you're on. You're trying to go on those places and make you seem like you're such a great person for going to these places and helping people. But in reality, you're just serving yourself and nobody else. And also, one last thing, to put these in perspective, think about it. Think about it if a group of Muslim missionaries from Saudi Arabia came and were just building a mosque in your community without even asking if you wanted a mosque, and passing you out Qurans and teaching you about Islam. If that happened, I think mission trips would be outlawed everywhere. So just some food for thought while I leave you with that. So again, thank you for listening. Usually I have a script written out of what I'm going to say, but today I'm just going top of the dome. I'm freestyling. So that's all I gotta say. I just want you to think about what you're doing. So, yeah, that's it. Happy Sunday. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hearing me out today. So, that's it. Thanks. Bye. Hit it, royalty-free music.